Hey everybody, Don Georgievich here with Job Interview Tools. I have a question for you. Why haven't you been hired yet? That's actually a question that one of my subscribers wrote in that someone asked him. On one of his interviews, an employer's like, so, looks like you haven't been working here for the past year. Why hasn't anyone hired you yet? And he was just dumbfounded. He didn't know what to say. It was like a deer in the headlights. And I could kind of sense what he might have been thinking. Possibly embarrassment, humiliation. I mean, that's a terrible question to ask somebody. I mean, why haven't you been working? Why hasn't anyone hired you yet? That makes you feel ashamed, humiliated. And that's no way to treat a prospective candidate. Absolutely not. You don't want to insult the people that you're trying to hire. So you got a couple of choices. I mean, one thing, you can just call them out on that and say, you know, that's a rude question to ask. Or you can take, and I'm not suggesting you do that. But I mean, the other option is you can just tell them, you know, I've been on 7 interviews recently, and 5 of those, we kind of realized that we weren't a good match for each other for different reasons, different skill sets. And the other 2, who knows? I'm still hopeful for those. And who knows, by the end of the week, I might be working for you. So that's kind of the answer that I would probably take. I don't think I would really shove it back in their face and say, you know, that's an insulting, rude, mean, humiliating question to ask me. But you could, depends how you feel. There are some employers out there who just are not very tactful, and they may not understand the magnitude or the impact that this question has. I mean, it almost makes me think of, you know, dating. I love dating examples in job interviewing because there's so many parallels. But just think about it. If you met somebody and you were going to go out on a date with this other person, and you found out that, you know, he or she, you know, hadn't been on any dates in the last year, would you actually say to that person, why haven't you been on any dates in the last year? I mean, that is just so mean, rude, humiliating of a question to ask anybody. You know, whether, you know, it's for a dating partner or, you know, an employer. So it's just not right. So I think the best response for a question like that is, you know, to be honest. I mean, you know, if maybe you've been on 10 interviews and they just didn't work out for whatever reasons. The company's changed their mind. Maybe you want to scale it back a little bit. Just let them know, hey, I've been on 5 or 7 interviews, you know, in the past 6 months or 3 months. And, you know, just for different reasons, some of those didn't work out. We weren't a good fit. But, you know, I'm still hopeful. I have a couple other prospects and, you know, it's looking pretty good. And then if you want, you can throw in the little end part there and say, hopefully I'll be working for you by the end of the week. Something like that, something to break that ice, break that continuity there, and just kind of soften your response to their question. So that's really about all there is to it. Now, you might get a question like, well, it looks like you haven't been working for 3 years. Why hasn't anyone hired you in 3 years? Now that gets a little bit trickier because now you need to explain, why have I been unemployed for 3 years? And you probably have some very good reasons. Maybe you had you know, some sick family members that you needed to care for and you weren't able to work full time. Or, you know, maybe your industry was just hit so hard by the economy or COVID or whatever that your whole industry as a whole wasn't hiring. And sure, you were able to go out and get some part-time jobs here and there to make ends meet, but they weren't jobs that were, you know, in your profession. They weren't, you know, what you went to school for or what you had been doing your whole life. So those get a little bit more challenging, but break them down. If you haven't been working for 3 years, try to come close and give them a response that's just going to satisfy them. I mean, now, if you've been sitting on the couch with a bag of potato chips and watching TV for the last 3 years, anything I say, anything I do in this video or any of my other videos isn't going to be helpful for you. My videos are helpful when you are putting forth effort, when you were trying to better yourself, when you were pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, and even when things aren't looking good, you know, you're picking your head up and you're looking out and you're moving forward. And if you're doing those things, you should feel comfortable and confident in explaining to an interviewer, you know, why you've been out of work for a year or 2 years or 3 years. But, you know, the longer it is, the more difficult it gets to explain. Now, if you have been out for 3 years, think about it. What have you been doing? Maybe you were caring for a sick family member. Maybe you decided that, you know, I'm going to take some time off and I'm going to explore some other things. I'm going to maybe take some online classes. I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to travel, you know, whatever it is. But you want to help that interviewer, that employer, understand what you've been doing to, you know, to grow in your career. I mean, if you, let's say you were laid off and then you've been out of work for 3 years, if you've done nothing to contribute to your career growth in that time, I mean, that one's on you. I mean, you'd have to ask yourself, why haven't I tried to grow in my career? And maybe you're just not happy doing what you're doing. I don't know. I don't know. But those are questions that you first need to ask yourself so you can get an understanding of, you know, why? Why didn't anybody hire me? Was it my fault? Did I not try hard enough? Did I just go on 1 or 2 interviews a year? I mean, I know the economy's tough out there, but you're not on trial either in a job interview. You don't have to explain everything, but you do want to give them some reasons that are going to satisfy them, that are going to help them see the big picture. Okay, you got laid off, you know, you did this, you did this, you did this, you looked for some jobs, had some hard luck, didn't work out, you know, but now you're in front of prospective employers again, and, you know, things are, you know, moving in a positive direction. That's what you want to show them. That's what you want to show, and that, you know, you're the type of person who, you know, even when the chips are down, you're marching forward and you're still looking and you're still working hard. All right, my friend, I hope this helps you think about it from the employer's side and why they want to know, you know, why you haven't been working or why you've been out of work for so long. And I think this will help you answer some of those questions a little bit more. Now, before your next interview, to help you go a little bit farther in that and to get you from being unemployed to employed, make sure you know what you're saying. Make sure you know how to answer their questions the right way. There is a right way and there's a wrong way. And I have a great book, and it's called the Top 10 Interview Questions. This is going to show you how to answer some of the more common questions, like tell me about yourself. Why do you want to work here? What are your weaknesses? But and this book is free. You can get this from jobinterviewtools.com/top10. It's my gift to you. But if I give you this book and you just go out there in front of an employer and you just give them the actual answer that I have in here verbatim, that's not going to do it. It's not the words that matter so much. This is going to give you the right framework to use to answer their questions, but it's not going to put that emphasis in your voice. It's not going to put that passion, that enthusiasm. It's not going to build up your body language. It's not going to help you communicate to them, to show them how excited you are about what they're doing. It's just going to give you a framework for putting your answers together so that you're telling them a story in the right way. You have to put in the passion, the excitement, the enthusiasm. I mean, if you just went out and read these answers verbatim, that's not going to win you anything. You have to put all the muscle and the energy behind these answers and make these answers and these stories your own, not what I have in here. This is just the framework to help you get there. All right, my friend? So good luck on your next interview. And I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully I won't see you in the next video because you'll be employed. Take care. Bye now.